I want to take a moment to have you appreciate yourself. Give yourself a bunch of love and positivity for continuing to strive to reach your heart's desire, continuing to strive to find information that will help you manifest your specific person, continuing to believe that it's possible, continuing to overcome the emotional turmoil that's happening and the overthinking that's happening. Give yourself a pat on the back. You are doing absolutely incredible. I am so proud of you. I know what it's like to be there, and you can do this. I guarantee you with 100% conviction, you can do this. All that's needed is that you follow exactly what I share in this video and you understand exactly what it is that I'm sharing, and you too will manifest your person just like I did with my wife twice. An important concept that goes hand in hand with what I'm teaching you to do so that you can create your ideal relationship is to understand what a state is. A state of consciousness is a body of beliefs, assumptions, the way that you see the world, and the way you see yourself. You were in a loving relationship. This happened to you unwittingly or wittingly. And while in the state of a loving relationship, you saw your SP a certain way, you saw yourself in relation to them a certain way. There was so much love, appreciation, these different things. This is what was occupied in the state. Your state changed. You started suggesting to yourself and feeling like you were going to lose this relationship. You weren't good enough. Whatever it was that you were identified with as being true, and you felt it to be true. This is so important. You felt it to be true. You were imagining it to be true. And as you continue to do that, you shifted from the state of being in a loving relationship to losing the relationship. This is of paramount importance to understand. So all the activity, all the behavior, all the emotions, all the thoughts, all the interactions happened both in a loving relationship from that state and in a losing the relationship from that state. So anything they said had nothing to do with them. Anything they did had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with the state that you were occupying. Many of us look at manifestation like 3D wise. If I break a vase, let's just say I have a really nice vase and I break this. Well, on a human level, what I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna have to go find some vase master that fixes that stuff and Google it and maybe try to find glue and put it back together, or whatever it is that you're gonna do. Looking at manifestation that same way is going to cause failure. Because the relationship was broken and they said this is the next step. It's not possible. Manifestation is not a 3D thing, it is a 4D thing. Fourth dimensionally, all states exist now. Past, now, in the future, all exist. I don't need to fix a state. I don't need to try to, this happened so I need to do this. I simply need to remove my attention from the state that I occupied and then occupy a new state. So I don't fight with it. I don't try to get rid of it. I don't identify to it anymore. And so no matter what the SP said, no matter what the SP did, no matter where the SP's at, no matter the circumstance that's going on, that is all involved in the old state of consciousness that I used to occupy. This is so important. There's nothing to fix. Let the dead bury the dead, as Jesus said. So what do I do? Well, you may have self-suggestions all the time, bringing up the old story, or how you are unable to do it, or how it's not possible based on what happened, etc., etc. Here is the practice that will work for you 100% of the time if you follow this very strictly. You watch every thought that's going on within you like a hawk going for a little rabbit. I don't know if that's the best analogy, but you get what I mean. And you are very diligent about this. We can't be unconscious 95% of our day and expect it to magically happen. We must be conscious and intentional with what it is that we're doing, because the state of consciousness that we occupy is a continuous thing. It must be our dwelling place. It can't be I do it in the morning and the rest of the day I'm doing whatever else. It must be diligent and consistent. Here is the practice. The state of being in a loving relationship with your SP exists now, just as the old state exists now. We don't worry about fixing it. We don't worry about doing anything with it. We simply remove our attention or our identification to the old state and we identify as a new state. How do I identify as a new state? Remember I talked about earlier in the video, what did you do to change states from being in a loving relationship to fearing that you weren't in a loving relationship? You had inner suggestions, so this had nothing to do with the outside, because at that time your outside was ideal. You had inner suggestions and you felt them to be true. You were emotionally engulfed in what you were feeling to be true. So to be in a loving relationship then, I must feel the love and the gratitude and satisfaction of being in this loving relationship. Live in and from my inner world solely. The task is for you to focus only within. And you do this very simply by taking a couple of deep breaths, focusing inwardly, and then play in your imagination. Ask yourself, what would the feeling be like if I had the most amazing relationship with my person, or the most amazing marriage with my person? And if you play there long enough, what will happen is you'll catch the mood, and you're going to start feeling this love and this satisfaction, this gratitude come over you. That is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now notice, when you come out of that, your inner suggestions, the automatic thoughts that come to you will have changed. Notice, you're no longer desiring a text. You're no longer looking for outside proof. You're no longer wanting something outside of you. You now feel like you have it. This is how you know you're in the wish fulfilled. Then you go on with your day, because now you are in the state of being in a loving relationship. Let's say an hour later, you fall out of it again. You're panicking. I haven't received the text. I don't know what's happening. They're doing this. They did this. It's impossible because of this. You fell back in your old state. You must become aware immediately the state that just happened within you. Detach yourself, which means to withdraw your I am from identification to the state. If there's any emotions that are there, allow the emotions to be. Emotions are not bad. They're not negative. In fact, emotions mean nothing. It is our identification that this emotion is bad. It's messing up my manifestation. It means something's wrong. That causes the experience of that. So let the thought go that the emotion means anything, and simply allow yourself to experience the energy in motion, because that is what it is. If you'd like to, and I find this enjoyable and ideal for me, I just identify as the emotion being sadness, if that's what automatically is suggested to me, and then I identify as it being gratitude, because life is so amazing, and then I experience gratitude. That's a different video for a different time, but that is a choice you have if it's ideal for you. But the emotion means nothing. I pay attention to my thoughts. My thoughts are suggesting something unideal to me. I ask myself, does this align with the state of me being in a loving relationship? The answer is no. I let the thought go. And sometimes I will go on with my day. Other times I will now say, thank you for reminding me to feel my wish fulfilled whenever an emotion comes up. It's another great reminder I like to do. Comes up, it's no longer an issue. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to feel the wish fulfilled right now. And then I feel as though I'm in a loving relationship. Again, then my thoughts change, my emotions change, the way I see the world changes, the way I see my SP changes. And you wash and repeat this over and over again. The point behind this is to put yourself in the dominant state of being in a loving relationship. The more and more and more you do it, the more natural it'll feel, the more often you'll occupy it without having to do this inner practice, the less you'll be looking for outside proof and wanting anything, because you can't want something that you feel that you have. And you wash and repeat this. I know many want this complex thing. Let me affirm for 7 hours. Let me do this. Let me do this. I highly suggest that you make this a feeling thing and take the brain out of the equation. The only thing your brain is good for is telling you what it is that it sees out here, or judging or analyzing situations. Manifestation, it doesn't need that. God doesn't need your help in figuring out how to do things or whether or not something's possible. Simply needs you to control your thoughts and your ideas, and your thoughts and your ideas and feelings should be on the wish fulfilled continuously. So in practice, it is very simply this. No need to overcomplicate it. I did it and I succeeded twice. If I feel as though I'm in a loving relationship, I see my wife ideally, I see myself in relation to her ideally, I go on with my day. If I fall out of the state where I start worrying about it, I start thinking of the old story, I start wanting the text, I become aware of what happened within me, that the state changed, I remove my attention from it. If there's any emotion, I allow the emotion to be and I observe it, I stay present with it. The moment that it passes, a lot of the time I will catch myself automatically in my ideal state. If I'm not, I will again simply ask myself, what would the feeling be like if I had the most amazing marriage? And I sit there and play with that idea until I feel as though I now have it. And I wash and repeat this. So make sure you are diligent with your inner world. Make sure you are aware of your moods and reactions to life, as these dictate your state of consciousness. If your moods and reactions aren't ideal, remove yourself, your I am, your identification from it, and observe any emotional residue that's happening. Once that passes, if you aren't already in your ideal state of being, put yourself in it by asking yourself, what would the feeling be like if I had the most amazing relationship? If you do this, you will succeed 100% of the time. I am willing to bet millions of dollars on this. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, you can reach me at joseph.k.jansen@outlook.com, or you can go to my website, josephmanifesting.com. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care.